Hello, my name is Jordan Veitch and this is my mixing practice video on the track Check the Weather by Pavo. After watching the Shaken Through episode about the band, we noticed that they aim for a very authentic and natural sound, and a lot of their music is focused around the vocals of Oliver and Eliza. Because of this, we wanted the vocals to be the main focal point. We also felt that the song had a very strong rhythmic structure to it, and we wanted this to punch and come through in the mix as well. In the soundstage, we wanted this rhythmic structure to sit just below the vocals but above everything else so that it can guide the track. However, we were careful not to make the rhythmic elements such as the drums and bass too prominent in the mix so that we could keep with the authentic and natural sound of the band. In Rory Izaki's book Mixing Audio, he talks about using this technique in mixing and says that it's a very contemporary approach to mixing natural sounding genres, mix objectives. Izaki states that every mix engineer should have 4 objectives in his mind before he enters a mix. These are mood, which looks at emotion, balance, which looks at frequency, stereo image and level, definition, which looks at the clarity, and interest, which is all about the audience's response. As we progressed through our mix, we kept looking back at these 4 objectives and made sure that we were fulfilling all 4 of them as we moved on. As recommended by Bobby Owinski in the Mixing Engineer's Handbook, we split and grouped all our tracks together and color coordinated them so it was easy to navigate around the session. Since the main focal point of the song are the vocals, we decided to put these first, followed by the rhythmic elements such as drums, percussion and bass, followed by the guitars and then the synths. The groups that we split the tracks into were drums, vocals, percussion, bass guitar, synths, guitar lead and guitar rhythm. We then created 5 bus tracks for each of the instrument sections. This allowed us to monitor each individual instrument section within the song and also allowed us to put on effects that would manipulate each track grouped into that particular bus. We then created VCA tracks which we used as master level faders for each group. After that, we went through the song and put down session markers. This allowed us to easily navigate through the song. Then, on every bus except for the drums and bass, we added what Owinski calls the magic high pass filter, which is a high pass filter cutting at 100 Hz to allow the kick and bass to come through. Finally, we noticed that there was a lot of noise from the other instruments coming through the vocal mics. To eliminate this, we put a gate on the vocals bus and set it to -40 dB. We set up 5 send tracks in our mix, which were short reverb, long reverb, short delay, long delay and chorus. The short reverb was a small plate reverb with a very short decay time. The long reverb was a large church reverb with a very long 12-second decay and a bit of pre-delay. The short delay used 16th notes and had a lot of feedback on it, while for the long delay we used the real tape delay which had a flutter effect. We found this fit really nicely in the song and gave it that very authentic and natural feeling we were looking for. Finally, our chorus send effect was very deep with a moderate feedback setting. This gave the instruments we put it on a nice and warm shimmer effect. Vocals. The first thing we did to the vocals was to pan out the backing vocal tracks. This created space for the lead to come out and also filled in the stereo image behind him. After listening to the reference track Busy Earning by Jungle, we felt that our track would benefit from an airy type vocal sound. To do this, we sent the vocals bus to the short delay, long delay and long reverb, and we also sent it to the chorus to add shimmer and add timbre qualities. However, after this we heard that a lot of the S's and T's were really prominent in the vocal line. To get rid of this, we added a de-esser on the lead vocal line of Oliver and also on that of Eliza. For Oliver, this was around a 5.5 dB cut at 7.3 kHz, and for Eliza this was a 3 dB cut at around 9.4 kHz. For the vocals bus EQ, we cut around 7.3 kHz where the S's hit, and as Phil Harding mentioned in the guest lecture series, we cut a bit of the boxy frequencies, which are between 300 and 900 Hz, to allow clarity in the voice. In addition to this, we then split the backing vocals into Oliver's and Eliza's and sent that through some outboard gear. We used the studio's Rev 500 on the empty hall setting with a relatively small pre-delay and reverb time. After listening back to the track a few times, we felt that the long delay made it too busy in the verse. So to correct this, we automated it so it only came in the bridge where all the other elements are playing as well. For the drums, we panned it as though the listeners liked the performer, a technique Phil Harding mentions in the book Mixing Music. To make the kick more punchy and prominent, we boosted 6.5 dB at around 90 Hz, but we also cut around 160 Hz where the bass sits. As with the kick drum, we boosted the snare where its transient hits so it can also punch and cut through the mix. In addition to this, we created 2 parallel compression tracks, one for the whole kit and one for just the kick and snare. We used the studio's warm audio compressor to do this, and we used quite a short attack with an 8:1 ratio so that the transients really came out. One thing we didn't want was the kick and bass to contradict each other. To get around this, we emphasized the bass's plucking motion rather than its lower end, and we cut around 100 Hz where the kick would normally sit. In our opinion, the guitars and synths didn't need much processing. However, the lead guitars that play in the instrumental section needed some compression to reduce some harsh peaks, and we also automated them to pan center in that section to fill the gap that the vocals had left. One of our main priorities throughout this mix was to maintain a balanced and interesting stereo image, and also to use space as an artistic element, which Moylan talks about in his book Understanding and Crafting the Mix. By doing this, we felt that we could achieve the 4 mixing objectives that we set for ourselves, and we could also create that natural soundstage and those authentic timbre qualities that we were aiming for. Overall, I'm really happy with how the mix turned out, as I think we have materialized our vision and achieved the sonic texture that we would like. Thank you for listening.